Welcome and good afternoon. My name is Commish Orr, and welcome back to something I like to call Stories from the Maelstrom, a recap of the day's games for this past week of real time. As always, you can head over to baseballmaelstrom.com to follow the action. We start in Oakland, where the Boston Splinters came to town to face the Oakland Jacks. This is the last game of a three-game series. And there was some drama in this one. We head over to the box score. We can see that Boston, after Oakland scored one in the bottom of the second, Boston came out with 6 runs, 3 in the third and 3 in the fourth, to go up 6-1. Boston looking to snap a losing streak, I believe a 5-game losing streak at that time. Ted Williams back in the lineup after missing a game due to injury, and he had been kind of in a slump, but he broke out of it in this game. He was 2 for 3 with 3 RBI, 2 runs scored, and 2 walks, including a 3-run homer in the 4th inning that put Boston up 6-1. However, Oakland did not let up themselves. They didn't lay down. In the bottom of the 4th, they scored 2 runs. And then in the bottom of the 5th, facing Lefty Grove, who was still in the game, they put 4 runs on the board with a big 2-out rally. As you can see there, George Kell struck out to lead off that inning. George Sisler grounded to second. And then the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight batters reached base, which led to the 4 runs that the Oakland Jacks would score that inning. That was enough to put them up 7-6. That score remained until the 9th inning. Lefty Grove lasted 5 innings, allowed 7 runs on 9 hits. Bert Blyleven for the Oakland Jacks also lasted 5 innings, allowing 5 earned runs on 8 hits. The relievers, Lefty Gomez came in for Boston, pitched 2 scoreless innings, and Bullet Rogan came in for Oakland and pitched 2 scoreless innings. Jim Cott then came in the 8th to hold Boston scoreless in a 1-2-3 inning there. Raleigh Fingers in for Boston, the Boston Splinters. He also pitched a scoreless 8th, and that sent us to the 9th inning with Boston down 7-6. Mariano Rivera came in. He had a kind of a shaky relief appearance in the last game. Rod Carew saved that one with the bases loaded by making a diving stop and then doubling Ricky Henderson off of first base, if you remember, to end that game and get Rivera out of trouble. But this one, Rivera wasn't so lucky. He struck out Lou Gehrig to start the inning, but then walked Harmon Killebrew. Cal Ripken Jr. flew out to left, and it looked like that was going to be the end of the inning and the end of the game. But then Frank Thomas doubled to tie the game up, scoring Killebrew. And Charlie Gehringer followed with a single, an RBI single, to put Boston ahead 8-7. Fisk would follow with a single of his own before Ricky Henderson would pop out to end the threat. Oakland in the bottom of the 9th, still facing Raleigh Fingers, wouldn't really put up much of a fight. And so Boston is able to snap their losing streak. Mariano Rivera gets the blown save and the loss. He's now had 2 shaky relief appearances in a row. But Boston improves to 11-8, stops their slide, and the Oakland Jacks fall to 8-11. Again, Ted Williams 2 for 3 in that game. He's now hitting .415 on the year. Robin Yount was 0 for 3 in this one. He was also 0 for 3 in the last game. So he's kind of in a little bit of a slump after a 13-game hitting streak, I believe. So interesting. His average has dropped to 377. For a time there, he was leading the American League in batting average. We head over to Houston, where the Los Angeles Dynamos were facing the Houston Hoots. And unlike the last game, this one was a blowout. Dizzy Dean, another rough start for Dizzy Dean. Los Angeles pretty much was able to do whatever they needed to against him. Even in the first inning, Joe Morgan walked, Chuck Klein doubled, Cristobal Torriente singled in an RBI there. He was Dizzy Dean lucky to get out of the first inning with only allowing 2 runs to score. Meanwhile, Don Drysdale, he was definitely on fire this game. Had a great start. He went 8 innings, only allowed 1 earned run on 5 hits and struck out 8. Dean, on the other hand, did last into the 5th inning, despite the fact that he allowed another run in the 3rd and then a big inning in the 6th, the 4th, where he allowed the first 7 the first 7 batters, the first 7 batters to reach base. Now, one of those was on an error by Pop Lloyd. However, just a lot of just clean base hits. You can see there 3 singles before that error and 2 singles after the error before he hit Eddie Matthews with a pitch. And Los Angeles would bat around that inning. He was able to salvage a 5th inning, a scoreless 1-2-3 5th inning, but by then the damage was done, and Los Angeles was already up 9-0 at that point. They would score 4 more runs against reliever Hoyt Wilhelm in the 6th. Again, another error there, kind of extending that inning. Error by Mel Ott. So just sloppy play by Houston and poor pitching overall. Lee Smith, the Houston closer, hasn't had a chance to get much work. They haven't really had too many save situations, so he came in in relief just to stop the bleeding a little bit. Drysdale, as I said, did allow 1 earned run. That was a sac fly by Gary Carter that scored Duke Snyder, who had led off that inning with a triple, led off the 7th with a triple. Tom Glavine came in to pitch a scoreless 9th, and Los Angeles improves to 9-11, while Houston falls to 7-13. Heading over to Detroit, where the New York Swats were facing the Detroit Rockets, and Rockets ace Roger Clemens was the star in this one. He picked up his 4th win. He pitched 8 solid innings there, allowed just 1 earned run, 9 hits, but struck out 9 as well. This one, New York was dealing with some injuries in this one. Harry Heilman was injured before the game, so he was out, replaced by Harold Baines. And then Roberto Alomar in the 2nd inning was injured, sliding into second on a stolen base attempt. He was thrown out there, but he had to come out of the game. Eddie Collins came in to replace him. So that was 2 players. Alan Trammell was also in at short. He's not normally in the lineup against a right-handed pitching, but he came in to play short there. So New York just dealing with some injuries in this one. Detroit had an injury of their own also in the 2nd inning when Dick Allen was injured running to first base. Mark McGuire came in to take his place for the rest of that game, but was held hitless. Overall, Stan Kovaleski, pitching for the New York Swats, not very effective. 5 innings pitched. He allowed 8 earned runs and 10 hits. Again, a big 4th inning for the Detroit Rockets. they batted around in that fourth inning to score 6 runs. They'd also score 2 more runs in the fifth before Kovaleski was taken out of the game. New York relievers, early win and Red Faber were pitched 3 scoreless innings to close the game out. But New York really couldn't get any offense going. Ty Cobb did go 1 for 4 to improve his average to 210. Still struggling there, but he's had some hits in a few games in a row here, so he's doing a little bit better. But overall, New York not able to get it done. They fall to 9-11. Detroit, again, Detroit's the American League team made up of non-Hall of Famers. They are 11-9. They're doing really well. And again, a lot of this one goes thanks to Roger Clemens and his work in this one. Finally, we head to Chicago, where the St. Louis Wizards were facing the Chicago Docks. And this one also had some drama, not because it was a close game at all. In the first inning, Oscar Charleston led off with a triple. But when Ted Simmons flew out to Jim Edmonds in center, Edmonds gunned down Charleston trying to score on a very close play. In the second inning, though, St. Louis was able to put 3 runs on the board thanks to an RBI double from Rogers Hornsby and a 2-run shot from Orlando Cepeda. This was against Chicago starter Dwight Gooden and Chicago ace. However, Gooden now is still searching for that elusive first win. In the third inning is when the drama happened. Oscar Charleston leading off, and Gooden drilled him with a pitch. Or Charleston had some choice words for Gooden. Both benches cleared, but there weren't any ejections. They're just warnings to each team. But tensions were definitely high. Unfortunately, Chicago couldn't back up any of their words with any action in this game. Robin Roberts for the St. Louis Wizards, who came into this game with one of the best ERAs in the league, continued that dominance, going 8 innings pitched with 1 earned run, allowing 8 hits. That lowered his ERA to 1.85, and he picks up his 3rd win, so he's now 3-0. Dwight Gooden, as I mentioned, still struggling, looking for that first win. He loses this one. He's now 0-4 with an ERA over 5 in the National League. So even though he's the ace of the Docks and the team captain, he still has been struggling to find his rhythm in this league. St. Louis scores 9 runs. They had 3 more runs, insurance runs off of Roy Oswald in the 9th, thanks to Stan Musial's 3-run homer. And again, they win this one 9-1. St. Louis is now 17-3. They seem to be pretty unstoppable. I'm not sure anybody can catch them in the National League. Chicago drops to 7-13. Chicago, again, is the National League team made up of non-Hall of Famers. And even with the addition of Albert Pujols, after his retirement from Major League Baseball just a few weeks ago, they have not been able to really do much. Pujols hitting just 190 after an 0-for-4 showing in this game. So he has not been the offensive spark that they were hoping for. Barry Bonds, who is also kind of underperforming, he did go 2-for-4. In fact, in addition to going 2-for-4 with a homer in the 8th, he nearly had a grand slam in the 5th, but the ball was caught right at the wall by Tony Gwynn. So that would have not won the game for Chicago, but would have put 4 more runs on the board and given Bonds a 2-homer game. So if we look at the standings right now, we see in the American League that Boston is leading by half a game. They're 11-8, followed closely by Detroit, who are 11-9. Then we have New York 9-11 and Oakland in the cellar at 8-11. Again, the reason for the half game in there is because the Boston and Oakland game, the first game of the series, was rained out. So So they're going to make that one up later this season, but they're a game behind everybody else. If we go to the National League, dominated by St. Louis, who's 17-3. In fact, the only winning record in that league. Los Angeles is in second with a record of 9-11, followed by Chicago at 7-13 and Houston at 7-13. Next up, we have Oakland will face off against New York. The two teams with the worst record in the American League will face off in a short series. Houston's going to take on the St. Louis Wizards, which is going to be an interesting one. You have the best team in the National League facing the worst team in the National League. Boston will face Detroit, and Los Angeles is going to head to Chicago to face the Chicago Docs. As always, you can check out this action, as I said at the start, at baseballmaelstrom.com, where you can find all of the stats and follow the action. I do a little write-up on each game that you can find here. Those are updated as I play, and then every day, league day, at the end of each league day, I update the stats for that day. So right now we are on April 22nd in the league. So you can see the last couple of days of scores here. You can see the upcoming games for the game day here. And I play roughly one game day each week, so 4 games each week. And as I said, as I play them, I update with a little blurb on a little blurb summary here. You can get to the box scores and all of that fun stuff. But if there's anything special you'd like to see in terms of stats, you head over there and look. You can check it out under the stats heading, or you can leave a comment. Let me know what kind of stuff you're interested in seeing. As we head closer to the All-Star game and the All-Star break, here probably in a couple of weeks, I'm going to guess the end of January at some point, I will put out a ballot in which you can vote for the All-Stars from the American National Leagues. And then my hope is to play that game live, so that you'll have a live playthrough to be able to watch of the All-Star game, which should be pretty interesting. In any event, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, have a great evening.